on! It's finally real!
I cannot believe that this finally happened.
RJ Hampshire wins in Daytona, winning at home.
Finally got to burn one down here in Daytona. That was my dad for sure.
What up, everybody? Welcome Title 24, presented by NBC Sports. RV and I coming to you. I'm actually live on location. Daytona International Speedway, still down here. Obviously, I was here for the Daytona Supercross RV, and then here for the RCSX amateur race, getting the year kicked off for all the AMs. So glad to be here. I do get to go home this afternoon. The main events have just started, so it's going to be a lot of fun. Once I'm done ripping out this podcast with you, I'll be able to get down there and watch some action. Before we get going on our Daytona review, we've got to thank our great sponsors, Dunlop, Boxo, United, Motorsports, and Quad Lock. Thank you guys very much. But yeah, we're down here, RV. I get to go home a little bit, but first of all, we got a question from, let's see here, S. Reeds 711. How did the idea of RCSX ever come up? So how we started this race was, I always wanted to race at Daytona when I was a young kid. And back then you had to be 16 to race it. And so when the opportunity came along for me to be able to possibly have a amateur race here and give back to the sport, I hopped on it. So MX Sports, myself, and Daytona International Speedway came together, collaborative effort to form the RCSX 16 years ago. So that's how this race initiated, and ever since then, man, we've kept growing it to where it is now a amateur major, as you know, RV, and just something that is definitely very, very special, and it kind of kicks off the amateur season, if you will, this race here. So definitely humbling, fun. We try to put on a great race, make it safe but challenging, and a great experience. This place is pretty insane and special venue. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. I mean, man, 16 years ago, me and Rich he looked up at me 16 years ago. It just seems doesn't seem like it was yesterday, but I guess I never put it on paper to think about how long it's been going. Yeah. To your point of Daytona, one of the most prestigious special races to race in as an amateur kid, to be able to go there. It's just a completely different look than, Loretta Lynn's, Oak Hill, Freestone. You get to go race at one of the most iconic, car tracks in the United States. So really cool.
What'd you think of the track? What'd you think? I mean, we got a ton of questions that we'll get to later. Did you like the track? Was there?
I did. It looked like it raced well. A lot of option lines. SMX track crew did a great job putting that track together. Technical in a lot of spots, but also some high speed. Daytona, the cool thing about Daytona is it has everything, right? It's a bit of Supercross, it's a bit of outdoors, it's got sand, it's got clay. I mean, there's something there isn't anything that track doesn't have. So I thought it raced well, and it put on a great show for us.
It did. I thought we got it lucky. Real quick question on the track, Nate 5302. RC, anything you would change about the track now after the race? And honestly, I think knowing it, like after it raced, RV, the one thing that I would change. So the right-hand first corner, that worked out, and I've kind of been against right-hand first corners for a long time, and I was super opposed to it, but I've started to warm up to the idea. And so we tried it this year for numerous reasons. One being that if we had a right-hand first corner, it really opened up what we could do from a design standpoint and a direction standpoint. But getting back to the question, so they did the right-hand first corner, and then that left into that long rhythm lane. I think we kind of missed it there. I don't like how it funneled down into that 90-degree corner. And then that rhythm lane was really ruddy, very technical. So I think it exposed some of the riders to a potential mistake. We saw Thrasher And then we saw, of course, Chase, which we'll get into a little bit later. And then when you're in front like that, RV, as you know, it's just like, dude, like you expose yourself to, especially if you're in the front, all these other guys possibly jumping onto you, landing on you. So kind of missed it there. And I think that rhythm lane was a little bit on the long side. But other than that, I think the split start went well. I thought the sand section ended up working out well. I thought the whoops overall was good. I thought that, for me personally, I think this was the best balanced Daytona that we've had, meaning like it from one side of the track to the other side of the track. It wasn't heavy on one side versus light on the other. And again, I think as the night went on, and you know how like the lines get so beat up and deteriorate, like it forces you to take other lines. I thought the split lane again was awesome. It worked really, really well. It was pretty even. It's hard to get that right. And so other than that first left, I thought it was one of our better designs for sure.
Yeah, I agree. You know, it's tough. Like back to the different color dirt and things like that. You know, that dark like sandy material that's right underneath the grass doesn't light up very well, but then you have the red clay that lights up very well. So there's just so many different elements that Daytona throws at you from a rider's perspective, bike perspective too. So you gotta, when you show up at Daytona, you have to make sure that you're firing on all cylinders.
That's right. Hey, before we get into Kenny, so the boys, how was the area qualifier? Like, walk us through it. You're pretty smoked, right? Like right now, you're digging deep.
Yeah. Drove back from Phoenix last night. Boys did good. Rode really well, both of them. You know, Brax is got 2 whole shots on the day yesterday, which was really cool. You know, Mom, Kristen, my wife, she's like, all right, $20 for every whole shot, but every person that passes you after you get the whole shot, you got to give me $1 back. So
some incentives. I love it.
So pulls both whole shots, but then, you know, fades back a little bit and Gage rode well. So they made it through the area. It'll be a long shot through Paula. But yeah, we're just grinding away.
Dude, that's awesome. That's well, they transferred to the regional, so that's good. I mean, and the great thing, so you guys tuning in today to the podcast, we were talking before we started to record. It's like, you know, the regionals, for those of you who don't know, to qualify for Loretta's, I mean, the regionals, it's definitely much more difficult because they start to dwindle down. And the competition is much stiffer. But you got to, like I was telling RV, you guys got a long time, couple months yet still to improve. And you know how younger kids are, man. They grow and they improve so fast. So
that's right.
Anyhow, dude, I didn't expect this to happen. I knew that the capabilities were there, but Ken rode phenomenal, dude. He looked good all day long. And it took him 11 times, but he finally got the W. Like, I mean, this dude's got some momentum.
Yeah, man, he's riding so well right now. And I don't want to say perfect storm, but as we all saw, Chase, big mistake in the qualifier, had to go through last chance. We just watched Coop too on that as we're watching Kenny pull up and his whole team around him around the podium, because it's such a prestigious race. Like we talked about Daytona, if there's any Supercross that you want to win, it's Anaheim 1. And it's Daytona. And, you know, I think as the years go on, and I guess as I get older, I have 3 of those trophies sitting in my trophy room. Daytona it might be the most prestigious race to win as a 450 Supercross and a 250 racer. You know, it's just the elements that Daytona throws at you, the prestigiousness of that stadium that it's in. It's just an amazing race to go out there and race. So to see Kenny race it 11 times and come back and win, is pretty cool to see. And the story, the team, congratulations to the Pipes, winning Daytona. That's, like I said, it's an amazing race to win.
Yeah. Oh, dude. Absolutely, 120%. I was so pleased to see just how well Kenny was riding. I mean, that one section after the sand, how he would triple up onto that elevated corner, and he bowled that, used his momentum to get by those guys. He made several passes in that particular spot, and we're watching the replay of how he got by Cooper Webb. And I think he caught Cooper sleeping right there, tucked underneath him. And we're watching him pass Anderson. He's rolling that outside. I think he did I thought that's where he got AP, but no, I was wrong. He was typical Kenny fashion, just going over there, doing the lines. But the rhythm lane that I think really solidified his ride and helped him win this race was the first rhythm lane. RV, he was able to pop out of the rut over that single in the rut a little bit earlier than everyone else, but he did that rhythm lane the most consistent of anyone. And a lot of people kept making mistakes through there, like they weren't able to triple one lap. That one lap they were able to, and he just was like boom, boom, boom. And I just think his consistency, yet patience, not overriding, I think is at the end of the day what helped him win, and it prevailed. So I like this guy has a ton of momentum right now for the championship, I think.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's one thing with Daytona. You have to also be obviously up front, close to being the fastest rider, obviously to win any one of these races. But back to Daytona, because of the way the track develops, because it's a longer lap time, consistency is a huge factor on being consistent laps. As we watched where you were just talking, Ricky, Coop rolled over that inside, got a little cross rutted. It blew that, Kenny was instantly able to have a 3 second gap. That's Daytona really bites you when you make a mistake. It causes you to lose a lot of ground very quickly. It's not like a typical Supercross race where you can rebound very quickly. There's just so many different aspects of that track that come up to bite you. As we're watching Coop right now, stalls his bike, not typical for Coop. That's definitely not, mistakes. That was the second mistake that I had saw from Coop. I think we're going to see right here, cross ruts right here. There you go. Kenny pulls a big old lead, on Coop.
I think with this RV, I think with this little slip up right here, it just looked like he tried to get over the rut, take the same line as Kenny did. Obviously, he didn't get that front wheel up over the rut, and he kind of gets cross-rutted. I think Coop wins the race if he doesn't make that mistake. I think that was a loss right there. I think that.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah, for sure. I mean, Coop was riding well. It was interesting. Obviously, Kenny coming through the pack on that one of those replays that we did see. Kenny used a little bit of Coop's. I think it's right here.
Yeah.
Coop's typically the one that goes underneath of everybody, but Kenny used a little bit of his own medicine on Coop there, was able to go underneath as he goes around the outside of Jason Anderson, triples up to the outside. He was just on rails. Like, he rode very smooth. And that's I think also with Kenny, his riding style, the way he rides, the way the bike's working right now, it seemed to all be gelling for him Saturday night.
Dude, so Sunday, I got to tell you, I was going to text him congratulations, and I was here at the race, and I was like falling behind, and I was just doing some stuff. I'm like, man, I got to text Kenny and tell him congratulations. And he texts me first, and he sends me this. So I went on the Jackson podcast with Bear and Twitch when I was out in California. I went there, went and recorded with them on a Friday morning, which was a lot of fun. You got to go check it out. And we were talking about Kenny. So Kenny finds this clip when I was on the Jackson podcast. Okay. And I got to like open mouth, insert foot here. I straight up, like, I call it out. I'm like, no, I say Kenny's not going to win the championship. He's just not going to. Now, keep in mind, this was, I think we were 2 races into the series. But I mean, and even he has said it, like, he didn't think he was a championship guy, or maybe he didn't say it that specifically, RV, but he's like, he doesn't know how realistic it is. Something along those lines. And yeah, so when I was on that podcast, I said it. So he sends this clip and he says, "Thanks for motivating me." I'm like, oh, dude, you just smoked me. So I have to say, and I told him, I said, dude, I'm glad that something worked for you. And I know I got to go back and read, but I did say, like, that was a hell of a ride. And like, you gotta start thinking of yourself and considering yourself a championship contender, because I think he is. I think I love what he's doing, especially this, midway through the series. I think that this is some of the best riding he's ever done up till now. I think he's in a great spot, and it just seems different. And I feel like maybe because he's not putting the championship pressure on himself, RV, maybe that's why he's doing so good.
Yep.
So I have to retract what I said on Jackson podcast, and I think, I mean, he's definitely asserted himself as the.
Yeah, dude, if I would have been asked that same question, I would have probably said the same thing, right? Like statistically, like he has really starts off the season very well, and then he hits a flat spot, right? And for whatever reason, whatever the program has changed for the better for him or bike or team or like whatever that is, it seems like that he hasn't had that lull that we've seen in the past. So like I said, statistically, he's had that lull. And if that question would have been thrown at me, I would have probably said the same thing against the field that we have currently. Guys like Coop, Chase Sexton and the rest. And then obviously we have a pile of guys that are hurt right now too. I don't think it was the wrong answer, but it was motivation for him. Obviously everything's working really well with the team, the bike, and him and mentally. So, and like I said, I Kenny's one of the most talented riders out there. So, when he's on, he's on.
When we're going to switch gears here, 125_dad. Has Kenny finally broken the Webb curse? Will he hold on for the win if we get another Detroit scenario? You take the first crack at it. So do you think that he broke Webb there? Like, and then we'll transition.
Look, that's a tough question to answer because I think it's hard to break Coop. And I think Coop is if not the smartest, one of the smartest riders out there. I think he was trying to bridge that gap and, gonna try to make a pass and make a move on Kenny for the win. But also a few of those little mistakes, especially the one where he missed that rut and got cross-rutted. At that point, it was kind of, he laid back because, like I said, smart rider, knows he's not going to push that limit. He knows who his competitor is that he's racing against. So I think he's going to let that one live for another day after those mistakes. So do I think he could have, or do I think he broke him? I don't know if he broke him, but I think it was put it this way, it's a massive confidence boost for Kenny. I don't think it necessarily did sways either way for Coop. I think Coop is Coop, and he's a hard cookie to crack.
I think in a way it's kind of twofold, right? It gives Kenny some confidence. If Kenny's being honest, it'd be like, ooh, if he did make that mistake, it certainly would have been closer because Coop was making up time on Kenny. Kenny pulled out a little bit, so yeah. Coop was on his way up. Although, like, if you're Cooper, I think it pisses Cooper off. I think it's going to motivate him more to not make that same mistake twice again. It's like, damn, this is one that got away. So, but he put himself in that position, and it was a forced error on his behalf, and that's what potentially lost any hopes of him winning his first Daytona Supercross. And so, anyhow, I'm with you, RV. I don't think there's anything that was broken there, but you explained it well. As far as Sexton goes, dude, you saw number one. He's lucky. I'm glad that he was okay. That was a dirty fall, a tough impact on the face of that jump right there on the start of the heat race. And walk us through there. And what do you think? Like, what were you thinking when you saw that?
Yeah, just clips that middle triple there, and as we're watching right here, just doesn't get the lift that he needed, and then catches the landing, and it throws all of his body weight forward into the bars. And luckily, he was able to make his body over that landing or that one of those jumps, and then straight to the face, onto the stomach. Yeah, big crash, but also, like you said, Ricky, amongst the whole field, 2 turns into that qualifying race. It's a sketchy situation to put yourself in right there off the line. Obviously these riders are they're very professional of trying to, miss riders when they go down. Nobody wants to end up, either landing on somebody, because half the time, if you do end up hitting bike or the rider, 9 times out of 10, you go down too. So, but yeah, big mistake on Chase's part, as we've seen, in a lot of these races this season so far. It's I don't even know what to say. There's been a lot of mistakes.
There's nothing to say, dude. It's playing out. The way it's playing out, we've beat it up the last 3 weeks on here. You said it perfectly last week, dude. You're tired of talking about it. Yeah. I'm tired of talking about it. I just wonder if there's this something under the layer that we don't know about, or is there something there? Because now, like, it's just, this is so repetitive for a guy of how gnarly he is and the racer that he is. I almost wonder if there's something else going on, because this is just, it's gotten out of hand. I feel like, dude, like, don't you think, like, hey, the first 2 weeks, now this, I'm like,
yeah. I mean, obviously every time that you're put yourself on the ground is a time that you could potentially end up, hurt and out for the season. So, definitely has to go back to the drawing board. He needs to figure out what is causing those mistakes. Is it a mental issue? I don't personally think it's anything to do with the motorcycle, because we've seen him run some of the fastest laps, or a lot of the fastest laps, win Supercrosses this season already, winning main events, and just to me, brain farts, I guess. We need to go back. He needs to go back to the drawing board and figure out how can he minimize those mistakes. You can't win a championship in any one of these classes when you are that inconsistent, and a lot of different things, stalling the motorcycle, big crashes here, just it's tough. And it also, every time you try to go back to the drawing board, you try to fix those issues, and as the repetitiveness of it happening, it eventually starts to creep in, and you're like, what you're kind of back yourself into a corner and not know what to do.
Yeah, it was overall, if you think about it, RV, like, what could have happened, Chase, like you said it perfectly. Like, that's the thing, like, you keep hitting the deck that much, dude, like, that's why I was happy to see him come back out there and race, because I mean, that was a really, really hard impact, and you're so vulnerable. This is where I was talking about the track. Where could we've gotten it better? I think that this rhythm lane was a little bit long, and it could expose riders, like situations like this, if they were up front and they fell. A lot of the other riders did a great job by not hitting him or running him over, and I'm happy for Chase. So that was the case. But yeah, like, I think too, like, for Chase, RV, is like, if you don't know what the problem is, and we've talked about this before, it's hard to change what the problem is. So if it's mental, whatever, I don't think it's so much the bike. The bike is winnable.
Hey, Ricky and Aaron, rewind that really quick to where he just went over the finish line. Watch him adjust. Look at what he does with his bars, Ricky, when he goes.
Oh yeah, did you see? No, did you see that? What happened, dude? His bar mounts came loose.
Yes.
And, like, dude, he was rattling them around. I don't know. I got to talk to Jade, see what happened. I meant to text Ian Harrison earlier, but again, being here.
Right here. Watch him when he pulls off the track. Right here. See him moving his bars. Yeah. So obviously after the crash, in the heat race, mechanics have to run back, and there's a massive fire drill getting it ready for the last chance qualifier. And from what it looked like right there, maybe, over a little oversight on top of the bars, maybe obviously they were loose.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, he came. So when he came to do his interview with Katie Osborne after the LCQ win, the camera guys was looking at it, and dude, he's going like this and shaking the handlebars. Like, I think the bar mounts came loose. It's underneath,
Wow. Yep.
Yeah, I think the handlebar mounts. Something happened. Again, I was going to text Jade or Ian and ask, and I didn't get a job done. So
maybe you did. Maybe you forgot for a reason.
Yeah, maybe so. I do think, though, how everything went down and going to the last chance, I feel like he rode well. He he did some house cleaning to be able to get up to a decent position, maximize the points. And at one stage, I thought like, dude, he could get up there and contend for the win, but I'm not sure if something happened to his bike yet again, or maybe he just pulled back quite a bit more. We're watching Coop stalled it. So he kind of inserted himself back in the battle here, but then he went backwards. So not really sure what happened there towards the end. If he just like, hey, it's been a long night, let me get it to the finish. But he got passed back by Justin Cooper and the Cowboy. So yeah, there. But overall, for what could have been, when I saw what went down that first lap in the heat, I mean, overall it was a positive night. I feel like, I don't know, maybe not for the championship, but
rough night, I would call it. RC rough night.
yeah, right. Hey, the Cowboy did good, and Justin Cooper did good, right?
Yeah. It's good to see AP back up on the podium. Obviously, a very big fan favorite. Doing it for Dale. He fits into that program there in Daytona very, very well. Running around with the Cowboy hat. AP was on fire. It looked like he had some really good speed earlier in the race. And it looked like once Kenny got around him, you broke him a bit for sure. It looked like he kind of had to do a little regroup after the battle with Kenny. And then he was able to stabilize, hold off Justin Cooper, and pass back Chase also. But yeah, Kenny was giving him fits for quite a few laps there, heart rate running at a full tilt. And he had to do a little regroup after Kenny got around him.
Yeah, I think I'm excited to see what not only Justin Cooper can do and AP. I feel like both guys, when they start believing in themselves and they have good runs like they both had. I mean, it was cool to see Aaron, how well he was riding. I think that they'll be able to pay that forward this weekend. And like Indy, I feel like because now they believe in themselves a little bit more and they know they can do it, and getting towards midway, we talked about already, midway through the series, it's like some guys start to lay down a little bit and just kind of are just going through the motions, where if you get hot like these two guys we're talking about, I feel like they might be up front. I don't know, it'd be cool to see. I hope that they do.
Yeah, I think it was good timing for AP, just with some of his previous finishes and just kind of how the year's gone. Justin Cooper, he's he's like very just steady. He's kind of there every weekend, gets good starts. He's anywhere from that 3rd through kind of 8th position almost every time. But I think it was good timing for AP to end up on the podium there at Daytona. Give him that extra boost of confidence to see if he can do it again, because he's got the speed. It's just looks to be a little bit hot and cold a lot of the times. So maybe that confidence boost will help. Yeah,
for sure. Dude, switching over to the 250, United Motorsports moment of the night has to be RJ Hampshire. An emotional win, an incredible win. When you think about how the season opener in Tampa went for him, him being a native Floridian, and really just putting a clinic on. a couple wobbly turns, but yeah, dude, I just it doesn't really come as a surprise to me. I heard that he made some bike changes, like tweaked on it a little bit to get a little more comfort there. But coming to a track that you grow up in these kind of conditions, sand, rough, it's not a surprise for me. I feel like this plays into his wheelhouse of how he rides, his style, and all of that. It's just fun to watch, dude.
Yeah, he rode well. It's good to see him back up on the top of the podium there, getting obviously some very critical points on the rest of the field. Also, Max Anstie with the not the best night there.
Yeah, he crashed, dude. He crashed on press day, RV, and I just wonder, I wonder if that had something to do with what went down. Let's see.
Oh, yeah, right there.
Yeah. Oh, I haven't seen it. This is the first time I see it.
Oh, yep.
Ooh. Oh man,
hard slam right into that takeoff of the double before the triple, or double before the finish line. Yeah. So who knows, maybe hindering a little bit of, maybe an injury of some, not injury, but, sore, or just gun shy. Daytona will do that, especially when the lights go down, right? I talked about the dirt that reflects good light, which is typically that the brown or the red dirt, red clay. As we're watching here, that's a heat race where he went down, caught the rear tire of Tom Vialle, and goes down, puts himself in a very bad position here. But yeah, maybe it was just either a gun shy. Obviously, like I said, once the lights go down, that black dirt gets very hard to see the ruts, the deterioration of the track. So maybe it was just that he was riding a little tentative after that crash.
Yeah. What do you think of dude, Vialle? Vialle made it happen. Now listen, he won here last year.
Yep.
So maybe like he enjoys coming here. I feel like it fits his style, a little more outdoory, right? Like he's an MXGP2 champ, two-time champ, I believe it is. So not really a surprise, but it was good to see him. And I feel like another, like how I was talking about Justin Cooper and AP. I feel like this is a dude who has championship, experience. He's a defending champ in the 250 East division. I think he's back in this championship for Vialle. Like, what do you think? What's your take on it?
I hope so. Obviously, winning last year. It's I wouldn't say so far what we've seen from Tom has been. I wouldn't call it impressive, right? So to get him back up on the podium, that I think that's good for these next coming races for him. I expected him to be better at the start of the season. It's tough carrying around that number one plate, right? Like there's a lot of weight that you have to hold on your shoulders. So being back up on the podium, hopefully we'll see the better side of Tom Vialle these next few rounds. Because I don't think we've seen it. Even Daytona, even like I said, even though he was on the box, and he rode well, I just don't feel like he's riding as well as he did last year.
Yeah, I would 100% agree. There's the points right there. Max, even after that Preste crash, he still got a 6-point lead. RJ 14 back, Hymas 13 back. We got East-West showdown coming in. You go back to last year in Nashville in that East-West showdown. That's really where RJ Hampshire's championship run really raised its head. And dude, he was kind of the guy once that. So to be interesting there. As far as the United Motorsports moment of the night, that definitely has to be RJ Hampshire for sure. Make sure you go over to unitedmotorsports.com/title24. Remember, if you enter your email, you get a $15 credit towards your first purchase. Then you'll be automatically entered into the weekly drawing for a $50 credit for your next order. So appreciate you guys at United Motorsports. Outside of RJ Hampshire's great performance, the Boxo breakdown. If you haven't, head over to boxousa.com. Don't forget to use the promo code Title24 to get 10% off your order. Site-wide, whatever on there, you get 10% discount if you use Title24 at Boxo. It will be Levi Kitchen's gnarly crash. Dude, I couldn't believe it when I was watching it, and I don't know. So
such a high-speed section to go down to. Honestly, I was watching it out at ACP there in Arizona. We had it on in the truck, and just asked too much from the bike, and the speed that he was carrying into that takeoff. All day it looked like, and I think when we were watching replay of AP, he kind of got unloaded on that jump a little bit too. So very, very kind of like a technical jump, a jump that you want to come in super fast to. As we're watching Levi, he wheelied up, he put the front wheel too far up on the takeoff of that jump, and compressed the suspension. Did the foot pegs kind of drag when he touched right there? Yep. See, his front wheel went over the top of it. So just, and we're talking inches at this point for the ones that are listening and watching the replay. Like, we're talking inches. So, this racing's, sometimes a game of inches, if not less than that. Right. So he came in too hot, put the front wheel up too far on that takeoff there, and it just ejected him. Real bummer to see. Very high speed section. Which it's a bummer to see, man. I don't even know what to say.
Yeah, it sucks. So I got to talk to our boy Mitch. It was right after time qualifying practice RV. We had a nice conversation, just shooting like we always do. And anyhow, he was talking about Levi. He's like, dude, Levi really likes the track and felt like it flows really well. And dude, he was definitely riding another level. Seco 290 asked, this is part of the Boxo breakdown, is there a potentially unsafe obstacle? If there's a potentially unsafe obstacle, how come the track crew won't fix it? Example, Kitchen. So you explained it already, RV. I mean, listen, the throttle, I always say this, like, I want the track to be safe, but the throttle also goes that way. And
yes.
It's, I mean, that was a high speed obstacle where you have to slow down. And if you hit it too fast, exactly what happened to Levi will happen. And I mean, these guys, now this was the main event. They had ridden it numerous times by now.
Yes.
You know how it is. I mean, going back, could we have changed it? Could the SMX track could change it? Maybe a little bit, but I mean, at some stage, like, you have to, as a rider, you have to be calculated. And I hate what happened to Chef. I think he was going to win. Myself personally, he was riding really, really, really well. But he said it on his Instagram post. If you haven't seen it from Levi, he says it himself. He got too greedy. He didn't blame the track. He didn't blame the bike. He's just like, I felt like I had tapped into another level of speed. And I just got too greedy. And RV, you explained it perfectly with your analysis and giving us a breakdown of what he did. And yeah, he just tried to carry too much speed. And, when you're riding at that level, one little miscalculation can happen. And I go back to how you explained it with Austin Faulkner in Arlington last year. It was one of those areas where if you hit it too fast, something is going to go wrong. And you have to be present. And sometimes you have to check up to do things right. And he just hit it too quick. That's all. I mean, it happens. It happens to the best of us, dude.
No, it does. And I think I brought this up maybe 2 or 3 shows ago, of knowing when to hang it out and knowing when to be able to, slow down. I know that's odd to think like slow down, but that you're not just thinking of winning Daytona itself. There's a championship on the line. There's a long season. There's outdoors after this. You have to be able to. Championship guys always have to be, they have to win races. They have to be the fastest on the track a lot of weekends, but they also cannot end up on the ground and they can't end up hurt. And they got to know when to, kind of pull the ripcord and be like, hey, I gotta think long term here. We can't adjust the tracks for if there's something a little bit sketchy here or there. Look how many riders hit that jump throughout the day, throughout the night show, and throughout the main event, right? Like, and it caught Levi off guard, and that was a mistake on Levi's point. So, we can't just adjust the track always if there's a little bit of a sketchy thing. The riders need to adjust their pace, not us adjust the track.
Couldn't agree with you more. Hey, before we move on and we go to the Dunlop debate, dude, the save of the weekend, Cody Schock. This is unbelievable. Aaron, roll this. Check this out, dude. So he goes over here, hits the tough blocks, RV. Check this dismount out.
Yes.
Dude.
Yeah. Maybe you should head over to the Olympic tryouts.
Look at this, dude. Oh man, hits that. Complete flip, lands on the feet, saves himself. Dude, that's a 10 out of 10 in my That's a 10 out of 10 in my books, brother.
Yeah, super lucky. Just got jumped off to the left a little bit, grabbed those tough blocks like we've seen it happen, and multiple times, and had a great dismount there.
He looped it out. Did you see that?
I did not see the loop out.
Can't remember.
Hey, those YZ450s have a lot of power, bro.
Dude, he did really well in his heat race, actually, and I think he ended up 13th or 14th in the main. I'm not sure what happened. After how well he was doing in his heat, I personally thought he was going to do a little bit better in the main. So I'm not sure what happened. We never really touched on him in the main event, but I thought it was cool. I thought it was sweet that he he raced his 250 in a 450 class. So anyhow,
yeah. That's a tough track to put a 250 up against 450s for sure.
Yeah. Dunlop debate. So I'm out here. I saw some scoop tires this past weekend. RV, no surprise there. Motorsports NBC's YouTube community post. If you guys follow RV and I in Title 24 on the socials, we asked you. We threw it up there. If you could win one race, which would you want to win? Anaheim 1, Daytona, Red Bud, or other. Well, for me, I would probably win Daytona Supercross, just because I just feel like it's not your traditional Supercross race, and we only come here once a year, and we only race a track like this once a year. Although how special Anaheim 1 is, I just feel like Daytona Supercross would outrank, for me, Anaheim 1. So that's what I picked, and
Yep, I agree. Out of the three that were on the list there, Daytona, for sure, and then I'll go down to other. Obviously, Motocross of Nations is the that would go for other. But as for our Supercross, or for our U.S. races right here, as one Daytona, Red Bud, it'd be Daytona all day for sure.
Yeah. Quad lock. Moving along. Quad lock question of the week. We talked a little bit yesterday. I don't even know if it was yesterday, RV. Maybe it was late Saturday night. We chimed in on the group chat. However, go Quad Lock. Go check them out. They're actually, if you're in Daytona, go check them out. They're in the kind of like the front section of Daytona International Speedway there. They got a display set up. You can get all kinds of stuff. Go check them out. The winner, however, of the Quad Lock question of the week this week is CMB 2384. They're your lucky winner. And they ask, a lot of red flags. Are bike enhancements hindering riders from being better technically? Thank you, CMB. Congratulations. Jade should be reaching out to you, put you in contact with Quad Lock. You get your stuff. Take it away, RV. What about you?
I don't think bike enhancements are hindering the riders technically. I mean, I think we're getting bikes are better than they ever have been. So technically we should be, they're faster, suspensions typically better. Every one of these manufacturers go back during the off season and try to improve on the motorcycle. So I would go back to what we had just kind of talked about, knowing your limit, knowing when to pour the cold to it, and also when to pull back, so that you don't end up on the ground. Red flags have been an issue this year. We've had a few of them already. We've talked about the ones that we've had in the past that I think we both, but I totally disagreed with. Even this one, I'm a little bit on the fence with the red flag itself. Just because Levi got up, he was in a safe part on the track, and I get the whole safety part of it, but he stood up on his 2 feet and then he laid back down on the ground. He had some vertebrae, I think, that were, we don't know the total extent of it, but collarbone and some vertebrae. So I don't know what the right answer is for that, but I just feel like the red flag is getting used a lot this year, and to me it's Daytona, it didn't change the narrative, but obviously we did see the one with Max and Levi, and it totally changed the narrative of the race.
Do you think I read something the other day? Some conspiracy theorist was saying how they're pulling the red flag out more to tighten the field up more.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what I mean by controlling the narrative of the race is, like having the red flag pulled. And like I said, this one here didn't change the narrative of the race. Daytona, the red flag with Levi going down didn't change, but what happened to Max totally changed the narrative of the race and the outcome of the race. So, conspiracy or theory or, kind of reading between the lines, call it. Yeah, I mean, we see it in NASCAR, right? When the field is spread out, it's coming down, a lot of times we'll see a re-rack, so I hope we're not going down that road, but also safety is a very key part of our sport. We're one of the only sports that, it's man and machine, and we have no cage, and, happens. And sometimes it's, it's a very tough call, right? Because we want the safety and the rider's safety is in everybody's best interest, but we also are holding a professional sporting event.
Yeah, I agree with you, especially as far as the bike goes. CMB 2384. I second and echo what RV said about the bikes. Technically they are better. So therefore it should make them a little bit safer. However, when you are on your motorcycle, you have a duty to be aware of where you're at and what is risky, and what is, and what isn't risky. And you have to know when to throttle back, like RV said perfectly, and you have to know when you can take those chances. And, we can't just alter all these tracks. If something goes wrong, there has to be some personal responsibility in there. I can tell you that everyone involved, from the SMX track crew, promoters, everyone, I mean, they don't want anybody hurt. No one wants to see anybody hurt. And they go to extreme measures to make sure that these racetracks are as safe as possible. But also you can't control everything as well. So
and we've come a long ways, Ricky, like SMX track crew, our let's go back to, early days of U racing. I think a lot of it had gotten better because I turned pro in for Supercross 06, right? That was my first season of Supercross. A lot of the transitions were they started building everything the same, transitions very, very similar, 3-footers, 5-footers. But if you go back to when you or early days of you racing, you'd show up one weekend and transitions with jumps would be completely different. Triples weren't 72 feet like standard, and a lot of the there's kind of a blueprint what we work off now, but back in the day tracks were way more risky to ride. Bikes weren't nearly as good. Suspension wasn't as good. Deterioration of the track, the way we prepped the tracks, back in the day wasn't as good. So all of those things, we've elevated our game and made it is better. The bikes are better. The tracks are better. The riders.
I think the riders are better, dude. I think they're way more.
The riders are better, but I think the riders are better. They're faster, and the bikes are faster, and all of that. But I think the riders are less, they're careless compared to what, how it was back in the day. And I'm not speaking my day. I'm more speaking your earlier days, RC, because the bikes are so good. I think riders are a little careless on how fast they think they can hit things and what they think they can get away with because the bikes are so good.
Yeah, it's a slippery slope too. It's like if you have a rider that is super creative and is willing to take those risks and go fast, they kind of put you in a box to where you have to be maybe forced to ride over that limit. And like Levi said, he got a little greedy there. And when you are going fast, that's where, like, I will say, like what RV was telling you guys is like you have to know when to throttle back. When you are going as fast in a section like Levi was at, that's where the risks aren't worth it because the downfall is way too high, right? Like the negative part is just way too high, and in my opinion. And I agree. You have to be more aware. I think that they are less aware, and they need to be more aware because, like you said, the bikes are faster, and there has to be some personal responsibility. And listen, dude, I was trial by error those first 2 years in the premier class, but I learned, and learned where not to take the risk because it just wasn't worth the downfall. So I hate it for Levi, dude. Hopefully you heal up, bud. Hate to see it. I agree. I think you tapped into a new tank. He looked incredible, and we'll be thinking about him for sure.
Yep.
All right, Aaron, throw up SMX on NBC this week. Got some stuff cooking for you. Going to Indy, but as you guys know, SMX Insiders on Thursday always 3 p.m. On YouTube. We'll see. They'll have a Jet Lawrence interview. We were able to interview Jet. Jet was up there this weekend. RV, that was really cool.
Yep.
And then, Race Day Live for Indy starts live at on Peacock at 1:30. So you'll be able to check out everybody and the boys. Let's see here. Adam and JB will be there, and then Indianapolis 7 p.m. Eastern. The East-West Showdown will be on live on Peacock as well. And then the encore presentation at 1 a.m. Eastern time Monday on CNBC. That will you'll have an encore there for the Indy round 9. I can't believe it's already going to be round 9. So that's what's SMX on NBC this week. Switching gears, going to Indy. I am absolutely stoked on the East-West Showdown, and go for it. I have some thoughts on the 250. I want you to break down the 250 East-West Showdown right now because this is going to take some time. Go for it.
Yeah, it's dude, the East-West or the showdowns like that, they bring so much energy and different a lot of things that can change, right? You got the West Coast, you got the East Coast coming together, you got Hayden, you got Tom Vialle, and obviously there's a stacked field bringing them all into race together. From a fan's perspective, it's great. From a racer's perspective, like that would make me nervous to me, right? Because you have West Coast guys you haven't raced against, and there's all the points are on the line, essentially equal points on the line for everybody. It depends on how you finish, and you're racing against guys you haven't raced. So it just brings a load of action into the 250 class. So Indy, one of the very iconic stadium. I think it's still called the Lucas Oil Stadium, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Yep. So really stadium, loved racing there. You never know what you're going to get from the dirt perspective because obviously of where it's at. Could bring frozen dirt in, could be very ruddy. That stadium, that dirt, the way it develops, some years it can be the ruddiest track that we have in soft and Play-Doh like material. So being that it's the showdown, it's big point swing is what we potentially could see.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, dude. I mean, that 250 class is just going to be something. I think it's going to be an opportunity for guys to make up some points. Like we talked about a little bit with RJ. I go back to Nashville last year where it changed the dynamic for a guy like Levi Kitchen last year. That changed the dynamic for his championship for sure, and it helped RJ. What's it going to do for a guy like Max Anstie? The point swing can be huge in a positive way or a negative way for every single rider out there. And, so going into that, I think although winning would be great, I almost I think you got to go big picture just because the exposure to lose so many points. And if you get caught in that hype, I think the exposure to losing points is just too much. I think you got to go big picture. Podium at least, because the worst thing for a guy like, let's just say Max Anstie, he's leading the division, right? 250 East division. If he goes out there and he wins, and then, there's 3 West Coast guys that fill up second, third, and fourth. Now he's got a huge points gap on his competitors. If it's reverse, then he loses all those points. So I'm going big picture on this. I'm not trying to be the hero. I just think there's too much to lose.
Yeah, I agree. I think there was a question in our lineup here that does RJ have a chance at the championship still? I think with 100%, like to what you just said about big picture and
the exposure.
The exposure, the amount of the point swing that could happen because we have the East and we have the West all intermingled. You got to go big picture, and you got to get through that weekend. Inside that top 5 on the box. Yeah, winning would be great, right? So, and even extend your points lead more. But what the West Coast is a stacked field, and along with the East.
Yeah, I mean, this is a big moment. This is a big moment. The showdowns, you guys aren't going to want to miss this. I'm stoked for it. I mean, I'm trying to think of a showdown that has been this stacked. I mean, it's always stacked, and it's drama, and it's big. I feel like it's a big moment for these guys, and not only to show how good you are, but also from a championship point, like you guys, like you and I just talked about. So it's going to see who can live up to the hype, and then who can manage the championship. That's what I'm looking forward to. As far as the 450, man, I think going in, what are you looking to see coming from the 450 side of things? From whether
I believe Kenny's been really good there in the past.
He won there.
Yep, he's won there a couple times, I think.
Yeah, remember he had the Kickstarter up there. Was it 2 years ago?
That's right. So, and then you go to Coop, right? The real ruddy tracks seem to help. He's able to go underneath, like we've talked in the past, underneath of the inside line. And then also you go to Chase. I'm looking for Chase. Chase is, to me, the big one. He needs to rebound. He's pretty good, really good in the ruts also. So I'll be looking for him to have a big rebound. And like I said, we'll see how that track develops and who it favors when we get to Indy with race day live, and then obviously into the night shows. But yeah, I think for me, Chase has got to rebound after these last few struggle of the last few weekends.
Yeah, last 3. I'm looking at the exact same thing you are. I think it'll be an interesting week. I just wonder how that 4 camp, what they're going to do, and do a deep dive, and like you said, figuring out what's going on, do a reset, whatever. So that's what I'm looking forward to going into Indy. I always loved racing there. The fans are epic. Just to come there to, like you said, Lucas Oil Stadium, it's just fun.
Are you going to go down to St. Elmo's and get yourself some of them spicy them shrimp cocktail?
I would like to. Hell yeah, I would like to. Do you like it?
Oh yeah, it's good. St. Elmo's that's a good spot to go. That's one of the reasons why I try to go to Indy when I do go. It's like, oh, St. Elmo's, make the res for that one.
That's right. When's the next Supercross you're coming to?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
What do you got? Well, you got Spring-a-Ding coming up, right? Like, yep. So what's on the docket for the RV crew?
What's on the docket? Yeah. Well, as soon as I'm done with the show, I got to go and unload the truck, wash 3 bikes, and then clean the truck out, and then reload because I'm getting ready to leave on Wednesday morning to head to Dallas. So yeah, my schedule's busy, and I guess I'll sleep when I'm in the grave.
So are you guys like practicing or anything this week, or no?
So I changed my plans. I was gonna leave Tuesday morning, but now I'm gonna push it to Wednesday morning so that I can get the boys out to Paris Mini Night one last time before, because if they don't ride on Tuesdays, then they won't ride. I don't think we ride till Monday, I think, out there in Texas. So as you know, Ricky, it's that many days off the bike isn't good for anybody, and especially when you're 8 years old and your attention span is like a gnat. So you got to keep them on the motorcycle right now as much as possible, and to have as much fun as we can. That's the biggest thing at 8 years old, just trying to get the most out of them, but also keep it fun.
Yeah. Seat time is so important at that
Yeah.
age. I mean, it's important. It's important at any age, but especially that young age when you're learning the fundamentals and all that. Well, dude, you're busy, bro, but you're a great parent. You're giving your kiddos, you're doing it right. You're setting a good example by
Yeah.
putting in just as much effort as they are. You got the Blue Crew Invitational coming up in March.
Yeah, that's right. March 28th out at Glen Helen. We got the Blue Crew Invitational. So anybody
You been
out
doing your cardio and stuff, getting ready for it?
I did walk up a hill like 1,700 times this last weekend, so that was my cardio. But yeah, anybody that's on a Yamaha in Southern California or anywhere on the West Coast, if you want to join us out there at Glen Helen, March 28th, it's a good time out there. So it's all catered or all catered to the Yamaha Blue Crew, platform. Any one of you guys that are riding blue, come on out and hang with us.
Hey, do you go like when you're at these amateur races, RV? Do you bring like a smoker or a grill and like?
Oh, I got it. Yep. I got a grill. I throw underneath the rig, and we're always barbecuing over.
What'd you barbecue this week?
Actually, this week the barbecue actually never came out. We did the wife did all the cooking inside, just because of the wind this weekend. The wind and the sand. But no, it's good. Like I'm actually really looking for. I haven't been back to Oak Hill, for example, in 20 odd years.
Wow.
So going back to all of these tracks that I've raced at one time or another. It's cool. It's the time we get to spend with the family. I'm going to be honest. It's sometimes not easy. It's but it's a lot of fun. And this is one of those. This is one of the. That's what's so great about our sport is the time that you get to spend with your kids and your wife and your family, even though sometimes you might be at each other's throats. But it's irreplaceable time that you can never get back spending it with your family.
That's right. Well, cool. All right, dude. That's it. I'm going to go back out into the trenches.
That's right.
I'm going to go.
Well, hopefully we're there next year, RC. Save me that front row spot when I pull.
Front row at drivers.
Yeah, 100%. I know who to call.
Yeah, that's called Curly.
That's right.
Get Curly on the mission right now. Tell the boys, say, hey, this is where we're going. Keep up this pace. Come to Tally and ride for the week beforehand.
I totally would. No, 100%.
That would be fun.
I would love to come back out to Daytona, show the boys just Daytona, take the rental car out on the beach, show them what my dad showed me when the first time I went to Daytona, which was, I think I was maybe 14 years old, 13 years old. So it's cool.
All right. Well, to all of our viewers, whether you listen to us or watch us, we appreciate all of your support. Thanks to our great sponsors, United Motorsports, Boxo, Quadlock, and Dunlop. If you want to listen to us, we're on all the applications as far as podcast applications go. So if you want to watch us, we are on Peacock on demand. So that's really cool. And if you want to watch old episodes, you can play them back there on Peacock. And then, of course, we're on Motorsports on NBC's YouTube page as well if you want to watch the video version of Title 24. So, all right, guys, we'll see you next week.
Hi folks, Lee Diffie from NBC Sports here. If you truly enjoyed what you just watched, you can get more news, interviews, and highlights by subscribing to the Motorsports on NBC YouTube page. You can get it all, so go for it.